Welcome to Valkyrie Women's Wrestling Confidential, Episode 4. I am one of your hosts, Rob Blatt. With me, my co-host, my friend, Top Shelf, Troy Nelson.
Top Shelf Troy Nelson. A little bit more energy than we had the last time. And I think I owe it all. Big shout out to Ballast Point Sculpin, my official drink of the night. My second favorite IPA right now. My second favorite IPA.
Well, what's your first favorite IPA?
It would be the Rebel Rider from Samuel Adams, Boston Beer Company. But the Sculpin IPA from Ballast Point is delicious and only is available in a can. It's wonderful.
All right. Good to know. And I'll check it out sometime.
Write that down.
Will do.
How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
Marvelous.
Tonight on the show, Aja Super Pereira on the show tonight. I sat down online over Skype with a conversation with Super Pereira. Very enlightening. Very enlightening conversation.
Did she talk about how she loves spoiling my plans? Because she kind of did that at the last Valkyrie show, lest we all forget.
Absolutely. Valkyrie 5, Valhalla, helping Nyla the Destroyer take on the team I think might be one of my favorite teams of all time here. Superstar Nikki Adams and the Diva Dickie Rods.
Diva Dickie Rods. Yeah, they really did do a great job of getting the job done for me in March. And by getting the job done, I mean dropping the ball. I mean completely dropping the ball. But I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, Super Aja Super Pereira. Yes, you do indeed talk to her. Let's find out more about her. But let's talk before we jump into the podcast, Rob. I do believe we have some exciting news. We discussed it before. I do believe there's a big event going down this coming Friday night, depending on when you listen to it. Friday night, April the 10th. Rob, give them the business right now. What do we got on tap?
All right, so we talked about this last time, and this match was contingent on the Valkyrie 5 Heavyweight Championship match, the Queen of Valkyrie match. March 10th, March, not March, but nope, April.
Not March. Wrong again. April
10th at Clayton High School in beautiful Clayton, New Jersey.
Ugh, probably not.
Casey Carlisle will be defending her Queen of Valkyrie championship against the woman that is 1-0 at Valkyrie, former WCW Women's Superstar Little Genie. Top Shelf, what do you think going into this match?
I actually have a lot of thoughts about this match. I think it's a very interesting match. We spoke about this the last show. Perhaps one of the very few people on the Valkyrie roster that's more of a veteran than Casey Carlisle is Little Genie, coming up in the late 90s as well. A little bit more fanfare does Little Genie have. Of course, always mentioned former WCW superstar to some degree. Here's the problem that I have with this match. Little Genie comes in, defeats Ashley America, the young upstart, my good friend Ashley America. Apparently, whatever committee is booking title matches, just handing them out. I suppose that just shows you how important wins and losses are in Valkyrie. That one victory over a talent, yes, a very highly talented woman in Ashley America, grants you a title match. And I think a lot has to do with playing that veteran card. Regardless, Little Genie gets her shot this coming Friday night. And my thoughts on that is it's going to be a moderately competitive match. But Little Genie's been sitting on the couch for 5 years. What has she done? She's all but hung up the boots, and you're going to tell me you're going to have the audacity to spit on my cupcake and call it frosting and say that Little Genie is going to out-wrestle Casey Carlisle, who is at the very top of your game, I think you're out of your mind. I don't want to discredit little Jeannie. I think she's going to put in work. She's going to have to grind Casey down. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I do not. Especially in these last two matches that you've seen Casey Carlisle in. Wars. She was in wars, Robert, against the likes of Bonesaw Jesse Brooks and Mistress Belmont. I don't think any reasonable fan or peer alike is pulling for little Jeannie. So may she prove me wrong this Friday night against the Queen of Valkyrie, yours and mine, Casey Carlisle. Rob, give it to me. Tell me I'm wrong. What do you?
I definitely think with this match, I've got to disagree with you that it's that the title shot is out of nowhere. When someone with the history and someone
you
with
want to play the veteran card. That's the thing. They want to play the veteran card.
You gotta respect the amount of experience that little Jeannie has at this point in her career to walk into Valkyrie, to take on Ashley America, who is absolutely no joke when it comes to wrestling in that Valkyrie ring.
And I don't want to cut you off, but don't let that comment make you think that there's any disrespect. Little Jeannie has been to places that I may never go. WCW. So who is these days? But seriously, I don't want that to be a sign of disrespect. She did beat Ashley America. And who's to say that we won't see little Jeannie again soon in a Valkyrie ring, but I think that, a win against Casey Carlisle obviously will put her back in a Valkyrie ring, but I think this is do or die. Yes, you're 1-0, but 5 years. 5 years is a very long time, Rob, and against maybe the veteran card against someone young and inexperienced like Ashley is one thing, but I don't think you're going to put a dupe over the more than consistent vet in Casey Carlisle.
Yeah, I have been thinking about this, and what I will say is that when you look at little Jeannie's career, and you go back and you see who she has been in the ring with, and you see the types of matches she's been in, and then when you think about the style of Casey Carlisle, that style, I think that little Jeannie has uniquely one of the backgrounds where she may be able to counter that style or prevent Casey Carlisle from getting in that groove, from really laying in that offense, from feeling that confidence that she absolutely feels every time she steps in that ring. It was clear in that conversation back in episode 1 and 2 that you had with her that Casey Carlisle does not lack confidence in her abilities. But when you look at the experience of little Jeannie, I think that veteran, that ingrained ability to see your opponent and to be able to pinpoint what makes them strong, where they draw that strength from, and to be able to take that out of them. I think that is little Jeannie's strength going into this and playing Casey Carlisle's hubris against her. And that is, I think, the key to a victory from little Jeannie, going 2-0 and stepping into becoming the second Queen of Valkyrie.
I think that's a very interesting point. We're going to have to find out. We're going to find out in Clayton, what'd you say, gorgeous Clayton, New Jersey?
In beautiful Clayton, New Jersey.
Clayton, New Jersey. Alongside another smorgasbord of events, the main event of that card, real quick, want to give some spotlight to that. The longtime dog heavyweight champion, Dirty Money. Dirty Money defends that championship against New Japan Pro Wrestling rising star Watanabe, formerly known as Takaki Watanabe. Rob, I done a little bit of research. I am familiar with Dirty Money. His storied feud for that dog heavyweight championship against Midwest standout Damian Wayne is been everywhere, not just in a dog room. And I think that's the best part about the dog promotion. Big shout out to good brother Lawrence Zirconium if he's listening. If you need a commentary team, I do believe Rob and I are very much available. Get yourself over, kid. But what I'm trying to say is I know that up here in New England, up in Massachusetts, for the New England Championship Wrestling promotion, I did in fact see that title get defended up here in Massachusetts. It's been defended in New York. It's been defended everywhere. Is there a chance that there's going to be some international flair when Watanabe, who's currently still doing his American tour, can he defeat Dirty Money? And I think he has an opportunity and a half, to say the least. The names like Kazuchika Okada rings a bell during his American tour, and Okada did not have the fanfare that Watanabe has right now. Watanabe, and I believe that a guy like Okada has paved the way for somebody like Watanabe at this point, where you see what some kid from Japan did on his American tour, and what ended up happening to him. New Japan is now everywhere, and I'm not saying that it isn't the Tanahashis of the world, or was it the Minoru Suzuki's, but I do believe that a young upstart by the name of Okada had a lot to do with it, and now we're seeing it again, and now there are more eyes on New Japan's rookie that's here in America now, and that's Watanabe. And I think that a victory over the long-tenured champion, Dirty Money, could just cement it. I think, and we're going to find that out this Saturday night.
And you cannot discount in Dirty Money's corner.
Did I say this Saturday? This Friday night.
Friday night.
Oh.
You cannot discount in the corner of Dirty Money S1, the sensational one, as well. Also on that card, aside from the Casey Carlisle Valkyrie, Queen of Valkyrie Championship defense.
Marbles out of your mouth, Blatt. Come on.
You can also see ECW superstar, WWE Impact Wrestling superstar Nunzio, Little Guido.
Little Guido Maritato in the house at Dublin.
Absolutely. So do not sleep on this one. It's going to be a fun Friday night in Clayton, New Jersey at the Clayton High School.
Be a new referee debuting at Doug. You want to tell me a little bit about that, Rob?
Yes, you will see as it's coming up.
Self over, kid.
You will see Rob Blatt in the zebra stripes that night as well.
Ooh, I've done the stripes elsewhere myself. It's wonderful. Good luck to you. Good luck to you there, Rob.
Thank you,
I think
sir.
it's about time that we send it over to the podcast, though. And for those of you, there's going to be an exclusive mess. We want to talk about the dog event, but there's some big news in this podcast. Make sure you stay tuned. We will be revealing in this podcast the very first matchup for Valkyrie 6 that's coming up this July back in New Jersey. We're going to have more details on that during the wrap-up, and you're going to find out during this podcast. So you listen. We're going to send it over to Rob Blatt and Super Aja Pereira right now.
Rob Blatt here with Aja Super Pereira on the Valkyrie Women's Confidential podcast. Super Pereira, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you're having a super day as well.
Oh, the day so far is great, and I'm sure we'll get to super eventually by the end of our conversation here. First, I'd like to thank you for taking time from your schedule to be on the show. We are on just past Valkyrie 5, where we saw probably one of the most unlikely tag teams we could have imagined, answering the challenge of the top shelf Troy Nelson Open Challenge, and you came out to the aid of Nyla the Destroyer.
Yeah. If you guys remember correctly, I was actually supposed to wrestle in Mexico that day, but as I was about to get on the bus, my super senses kind of went off, and I was like, no, you got to go to New York. Something was just bothering me. So I went and I saw the injustice that was about to happen to Nyla. So before I even thought about it, I just took off running. And I had to go help her. It doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how small you are, and obviously Nyla's really, really big. But obviously, she needed the aid of someone inhuman, and I was the one to take on that task.
And you up against the team of superstar Nikki Adams and the diva. It's hard for me to even finish that sentence. The diva Dickie Rods.
Yeah, that was. I've never faced a man so feminine. If that's not too, if that's not too mean to say. He even when I hit him, he freaked out more than when he hit me. And I was like, this can't be the superpowers. I think this man is just very girly, I guess. And I noticed even when I was facing him, he would tag out so quick. I was like, are you really like this 200-pound man is afraid of this 130-pound girl?
But it's quite the intimidation to be across the ring from Super Pereira and the Destroyer.
You're right.
That's we can't discount that.
Right. That is
Plus,
tag team made in heaven, by the way.
Plus, the anticipation of going in for a handicap match and ending up in a tag match.
True.
It seemed as if the upper hand was in your corner the entire time.
I don't think he was prepared for a monster, let alone a superhero, all at
once. And not quite leaving the best of friends, but certainly not leaving on bad terms with Nyla the Destroyer either.
That hurt my feelings because I really did try. I thought at the end, when she helped me fly and everything, I thought we really bonded. And I've been trying to find a best friend at Valkyrie, and I really thought that was her. So when she walked away, it hurt just a little bit. But I thought to myself, she's had a really rough day. She's been called out. She's almost was in a handicap match. So I just took that as a pass, and I think that we're still building our friendship.
All right, so maybe some foundation laid for a future BFF situation between Super Pereira and Nyla the Destroyer.
Yes, of course, definitely.
All right, great. So let's jump back a little bit from Valkyrie 5 to the origins of Super Pereira. Obviously, everyone knows Super Pereira comes from planet Triceracorn. I have not been able to visit myself personally, being just a mortal human man. But it's not as if you have always been, or always continue to be on planet Triceracorn. You actually reside currently in Georgia.
Yes. It's such a beautiful planet, but the gods sent me to Georgia because there's so much injustice and unfairness in women's wrestling going on, and I essentially sacrificed myself to fly here and just really try to set things back right for myself and other women who love this sport and want to get the respect back to where it needs to be. So I started in Georgia because we all know Georgia is not what it used to be when it comes to
absolutely.
So
if you think about Georgia, I mean, I'll take a guess that I have a few years on you, but you think about Georgia, and you think about Atlanta being the hotbed of WCW, for so many years.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be at all. There's the territories have been long gone, but now it's anybody and everybody has a promotion. Anybody and anybody think there's a booker, and with female wrestling it's even worse because it's really in Georgia. It's who you know, or it's your past. So me coming in, apparently being a superhero is not popular. So I couldn't really make it too far here. But if you're a previous wrestler on like WWE or TNA, or if you've been around forever, then you're good to go. But if you're new, like me, which I stress again, how can a superhero not be essential in everyday wrestling? So once I got my training and everything here is when I really started venturing out to I think Alabama, Florida, Now New York, of course, Philly, which has delicious food. Um, and what I still like about myself is that I'm still a Southern wrestler. What people like to call that, I guess. I didn't know there was a difference until I went up north. But I really. Well, I'm not gonna say that Northern wrestlers don't care about the crowd, but we're really, really people oriented. Like, even down here, like we smile more and all that stuff. But we really like to entertain as well as do. Well, I'll speak for myself. We like to entertain as well as do great work in the ring too. So I really try to encompass that Georgia style with Planet Tricericorn power with Northern ability, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about getting into wrestling. Let's talk about how you wound up getting into wrestling. Let's go back past training. Let's talk about a little super, just as a tiny hero. How does the tiny hero wind up finding professional wrestling?
Little Super Pereira has always watched wrestling. I've watched wrestling all my life. I grew up with the Attitude Era, Stone Cold and all those good people. And honestly, I did not that I didn't want to be a wrestler, but it just did not. It never came to mind. I was just fine being a fan. I loved going to events, all that stuff. So my sister, the super villain Tragedy Ann, we went to when we flew down to Georgia, we went to a event in Porterdale, Georgia, in Covington called PCW. And my sister's always wanted to be a wrestler since I can remember. And so we actually got to talk to the trainer, Fred Avery. And my sister was like, "Oh, I really want to do it. Aja, will you do it with me?" And I'm like, I really don't feel like it. That's a lot of physical labor and just not my thing. So her and Fred Avery, they talked me into it. So I ended up training, and after that, the rest is just history. But there was never a time where I was like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to be that person," or anything like that. It was destiny, essentially.
The calling hit when it hit, and before then it was
right.
Wrestling wasn't even an option in your mind.
Right. It was a little flame inside of me that just got ignited when I took that first bump in training, and that was it.
And in terms of, so you go through your training, what was the first live experience you had on the other side of the guardrail?
My first show, if I remember the date, it was August 17th of 2013. My coach actually made a promotion called Open Door Championship Wrestling, which I thought was catchy because he had like 6 different titles from like all over Georgia having title matches and stuff. But my match was against another girl that was in my training class. Her name was Grundy. She's like, I don't know if you've seen her before, but she's like 6 feet tall, and she's a huge, huge monster. So it was me and a fellow trainer versus Grundy and my coach. So
all right,
I wouldn't tell anyone to start with a tag match. That takes years. That really takes years to master. But it was still a lot of fun. And honestly, from that moment when I hit that curtain, it was just euphoric in a sense. It was like this is what I'm meant to do with my life. I don't understand how I never even fathomed being a wrestler, because I'm sure you know what it feels like when you just get that adrenaline pumping through you and you step in that ring. It's like you feel like, well, you feel super. That's the best way to describe it. You feel like a whole new person.
Absolutely. And then you've also done a touch of managerial work as well. Yes.
I can say that I was actually an exclusive manager. I managed Fred Yehai for, well, I still manage him, it's just off and on, but for about that first year, I managed him at Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, and I managed him at All-Star Wrestling Network, and I think some other places, but it all runs together at this point.
Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, a very not Northeast name.
Yes.
For a company.
Well, it's catchy down here because you know how we feel about our fried foods and all that good stuff.
Right. So as you go on, you've said that Georgia's kind of not what it used to be. It's not a hotbed for new talent, but you did manage. There are still schools. You still train with folks and wind up running a little bit around that area. How did you wind up getting out of Georgia for the first time? Expanding that circle of where you're working, where you're wrestling, how you managed to influence more people. Expanding that the bubble of protection that Super Pereira provides.
I honestly, I have to not give myself an ego, but I honestly did all that work myself. I would send out my calling card to all these different promotions, and finally people started catching on that Super Pereira is the way to go if you want your promotion to be safe and secure. So one of the first people who actually realized that their promotion needed saving was Coastal Championship Wrestling in Florida, and that was a ton of fun. And then after that, I think Alabama was first. I think I did Alabama first, and which is easier. It's still easier to get on Southern. They're not really Southern, but Southern promotions like Mississippi and Tennessee. You get what I'm saying? It's easier to get to those still than to get to like Ohio and New York and things like that. So once I hit Alabama and Florida, it was really just an opening. They're like, "Oh, you've wrestled there? Well, come here." So it was still work, but it wasn't as difficult once I finally did, break out.
All right. So just kind of it naturally occurred once you started showing up on shows here and there. It was just kind of a natural, organic thing that happened from there.
Yeah, after I put in the work the first time, it got a little easier for, I'll say, southern and mid-southern promotions.
And at the moment, do you have, outside of Valkyrie, do you have a home promotion that you're working in right now?
Yes, in Georgia. Well, actually, it's in Georgia, which I'm happy about. I have Passion of Wrestling in Dublin, and they realized their need for Super Pereira from the beginning. So I've been there really, really guns blazing, trying to get this promotion to its level of safety and justice that it really needs.
Absolutely, but then also, naturally, other cities, other promotions do eventually need the services of one superhero. Yes. So let's talk about, in terms of expanding that circle where you're wrestling. From Georgia expanding to the South, the Mid-South, and then eventually you do wind up, obviously as we're speaking now, you do wind up at Valkyrie.
Yes.
Making your debut, if I'm correct, at Valkyrie 3. Mm-hmm. Having your first match at Valkyrie with Ronnie Nicole.
Yes. Yeah, I irritated Chris enough for him to finally realize that, the final piece, because Valkyrie's already amazing, but the final piece that Valkyrie needed was someone to keep the evil and good balanced, and just, needed someone there in the middle strong to just really keep it together. So he finally booked me. I faced Ronnie Nicole, which was so sad. If you remember it, it was so sad because I came in, I was like, okay, here's Ronnie Nicole. I know she's from the South too. Awesome. We're going to be besties. I have someone here I got something in common with. This is going to be sweet. I'm like, okay, let's just get through this match. Then we can go eat some pizza. We can put it behind us. No big deal. So I get in the ring. I'm trying to hug her starting out. Just, that good friendship. We got this. It's not a big deal. Whoever wins, it's whatever. She didn't want to hear that. And then she spanked me, which was just humiliating. And I was still willing to just let it go and just look past that and continue our friendship. But then when I won, she got even more upset. And I don't understand, because it's a match. Someone's going to win. It's not a big deal, but someone's going to win,
It's not a big deal, but it happened to be you.
I was happy for it, but if she had won, I would have took it on the chin, just let it go, and we could have just kept moving forward with our friendship. It was not a big deal to me. So I go to shake her hand, and she just speared the crap out of me. And really, as she speared me and I hit the mat, that's when I really knew, like, okay, this isn't gonna work out. You know, I can't look past this one. I can only forgive so much. So that was so hard. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. That was so heartbreaking because I really thought me and her had something, you know.
Right. Well, you know, I far be it from me to give you advice about your attitude. But you know, there may be people that just are not interested in being friends in the end.
No, you see,
And
you can't think like that. You cannot think like that. Everyone has something good inside of them. It's just harder to find for certain people.
all right, I can appreciate that. Speaking of hard to find the good in someone, brings us to Valkyrie 4 in Woodbury Heights, New Jersey, where you square off against, essentially, I mean, from my perspective, not one, not two, but you really wound up having 3 opponents that night in La Rosa Negra.
Yeah. That was another sad. I feel like my Valkyrie matches end in heartbreak because with that one, I was excited because I could have got 3 best friends in that match, or at least 3 people who really believed in Super Pereira. So I got a little better on my Spanish. I learned hola and all that cool stuff. I ate some Spanish food and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, and just the head honcho of all of this, I'm gonna learn how to twerk because I don't have any type of coordination. So I studied hard. I think I mastered it if you watch the match. And she waited till my back was turned and kicked me in the butt. And again, that was strike 1. Okay. So we have an awesome match, but the whole time, what's his name?
Jay George,
Yeah,
the unpredictable
George
one.
Estrella and Debbie are just like taking any moment to hit me, and I hope that wasn't Rose's doing because I really don't know, but I still don't think she'd do anything like that to me. I want to just say she wouldn't do something like that. And then at the end, when I finally hit Rosa with my finisher, Debbie comes out of nowhere and about knocks me out with a freaking shoe. I don't even know where she got the shoe from. And then with
Who does that?
Exactly, a shoe. Okay, not even a stick or a bat, a shoe. And I think it was a man's shoe, so I don't know where she got that from. And after that, I'm like, okay, obviously me and Debbie don't have, we don't have that connection. That's okay because I still have Rosa, and then I still have Jorge. But then he punched me, so I'm like, okay, I guess I only have Rosa. And then Rosa did her splash off the top rope. So that's when I really realized that friendship wasn't going to work out. And I don't know. Well, it's not me. I was about to say it's me, but it's not me. It's just a lot of the women on Valkyrie just are spoil sports. They really need to just see the way of Super Pereira and just realize that I'm here to bring joy and happiness to Valkyrie.
And I will say, you watch your matches at Valkyrie, there is a lot of joy to be had. You may not be best friends with your opponents, but it certainly seems like you have the crowd at any given moment are ready to be your best friends.
The crowd they are my besties, really, because as soon as my music hits, I hear them clapping. It's so awesome. I've never had a crowd to instantly take to me like that because at Valkyrie 3, before I even came out, I heard people cheering. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like, Northern crowds are really, really awesome for stuff like that. And I mean, I can do something simple as just put my hand in the air and they just eat it up and they're just excited for more. Like, I've never had to do nothing to have a crowd on my side, honestly.
Well, it does help. I mean, the music hits, it's instantly recognizable. And then the moment that you come out, aside from the ball of energy, the waves of positive energy that comes out from the locker room when you step out towards the ring, on top of that, there's the instant connection with with the Legend of Zelda on your gear. It's in the music. The imagery is there. What is the connection with Super Pereira and the Legend of Zelda?
See, the Triforce is actually my people's sign for power and wisdom. That's it. It's just transformed into Legend of Zelda here. But then when I came to Earth and I realized how awesome the Legend of Zelda was, it just kind of became two and two. And I've been playing it. I played Legend of Zelda like literally all my life when it was on. You remember it on NES? It was bad.
Absolutely.
It was bad. I'm not gonna lie. But I played it on NES, Nintendo 64, GameCube. Like I followed it my whole life, and I before I go on a rant, I genuinely like what it stands for. The wisdom, power, and I love all that stuff, and it's so positive to me, and just he's on these never ending battles, and you never hear him complain. You never hear him cry. I mean, he'll get upset because, who wouldn't, with all that stuff that's going on. But he always stays so strong and hopeful. And it's been 20 years, and he's doing essentially the same quest, and he's still not mad. People need to be like that. So I want to just spread that joy out to everyone else and just make them realize, life is short. Do these quests. Have fun. Be you, essentially.
So almost written in the stars, a fate, a destiny to not only bring you to Earth, bring you to Georgia, bring you to Valkyrie, but then also to connect you with the imagery from your planet, and then also directly to the Legend of Zelda and the message of the game. That's a hard energy to fight. That's that connection, that kismet there.
Yeah, why fight it? If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
And it does give you that positive energy, that force for good that you've spoken about. Balancing the power between good and evil, and that extends in conversations, that extends beyond the ring and kind of to the person and the individual, yourself and others as well, in terms of having that positive attitude and that positive energy about yourself.
Yes, I'm really, if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, I'm really all for loving yourself, because you only get one body, you only get one life. You don't have enough time to really sit here and down yourself, because I did that to myself. I still do it. I have my own battles. I have body dysmorphia. I fought bulimia. I fought, taking laxatives, just not eating. I've done all that stuff. And what I've come to realize is your body is going to be your body, because as soon as you start eating again, guess what? You're going to look just like how you looked before. When you stop taking those diet pills, you're going to look the same way you did before. If you don't take healthier aspects and just really push yourself in the right ways, then you really won't see any results. And my biggest thing was actually that it wasn't that I saw myself as fat. I can from time to time, but my aspect actually was that I thought I was too muscular. And I know that's really weird to say, but I have very muscular arms. That's just naturally who I am. I was like that little kid with cut arms. That's my body. I have very muscular legs. I am who I am, and for the longest I couldn't accept that. My case wasn't even really bullying. I actually had people who would compliment me all the time, like, "Oh my gosh, you look so strong, it's awesome." I did cheerleading. Everyone, is like, "Oh my god, you look so strong. I wish I could get like you. I wish I could do this and that." But honestly, hearing that what hurt me more, because I did not like the way I was. I'm like, all these people are praising me for something, and I feel so ugly. I felt mannish. Like I did not feel feminine whatsoever. I actually made a post about this on Facebook yesterday, and I felt so ugly. And there's even times now where I just choose not to look at myself in the mirror because I'm just feeling down. And it's no point in being like that. At least my body is healthy. This is my natural body. I work out, and also even with that, don't overdo anything, because even when you work out a lot, that's still not healthy. I promote eating pizza and ice cream and still, getting your workout in because I eat French fries, pizza, ice cream, candy. I eat all that stuff because we're human. And if you live your life on a strict diet where you only eat vegetables and skinless chicken. I mean, I'm from Georgia. I eat fried chicken all the time, if that's not country to say, I like all that stuff. And people not just I'm really trying to become an advocate for this. We need to, it's cliche, but we need to love ourselves just as much as other people do because you feel like no one else finds you attractive, but it's only in your head. It was baffling to me when I first started wrestling, and I had so many people message me, and it's like, oh, I think you're so beautiful and you're so strong, and it used to bother me. And I was like, you know what? People would kill to have this. There are people who wish they looked like me while I'm wishing I looked like somebody else. We're all ourselves, and we just it's well overdue that there's someone in wrestling, because if you do even look at the divas, a lot of that stuff is unobtainable unless you have a personal trainer, someone who keeps you on a diet, and a lot of that is cosmetic too. And there are tons of girls and boys that look up to wrestlers, and what are they really looking up to? Self-starvation, steroid use, over excessive gym time, and none of this is positive. And I'm really hoping that with Super Pereira, people see me and is like, oh my God, this girl's in shape, but she just posted about eating a pizza. Or this this girl is beautiful and she has tons of muscles. I just want everyone to, whether you're tiny, whether you're huge, if you're tall, if you're short, it doesn't matter. As long as you take the healthy route, you are who you are, and just love yourself.
So, first off, that is wonderful. And in terms of being that leading the way with that attitude, if I've felt it. There are plenty of people out there that have that those negative feelings about themselves. So in terms of someone who's out there who looks in the mirror and is unhappy with what they see, what's from your point of view, what's the first thing that someone should be doing? If they want to quote unquote turn their life around, let's say, they want to make a big change. What's from your point of view, something that people should be thinking about with that?
I think the first thing you need to do is talk to someone, because there are different levels and there are very unhealthy levels to body dysmorphia and just body image issues in general. After that, there needs to be a level of acceptance as well. Because like with me, I can not eat all day long, but my arm muscles are still going to be here. That's your natural build. So don't go in it with unrealistic expectations, because that's going to make you even worse. So you really, and a lot of people are not honest with themselves. A lot of people look at these people who are like 5'9" and 120 pounds. I hate to tell people this, but the average female does not look like that. So, it really starts from within. Like you really have to dig deep within yourself and just really accept who you are, what you look like, and honestly, what you're going to look like regardless.
And then from that point of acceptance, and kind of let's say acknowledgement, moving forward, let's say, so what were some of the first things that you did to get to where you are today, to get to the place of being the superhero? What were some of those first steps that you took?
Luckily for me, and that's why I say talk to people, because I had plenty of people, and not just the people that are like, oh my gosh, you're not fat, because that's not going to get you anywhere either. But luckily I had people, and especially my trainer, Fred Avery. He was like, okay, well, you don't like how you look? Well, we're going to get up at 5 a.m. and we're going to go to the gym. So, and I think everybody needs somebody like that in their life, so I would go do that. And then I get home, and my sister, who also struggles from the same thing, she's like, Aja, get up, let's go for a walk, And after that exercise kind of became addictive, and not in the unhealthy way. I have to stress that, because again, I like candy. I like cookies. I don't have that limit. I can't put that limitation on myself where I don't, especially French fries. Oh my goodness, I could eat French fries every day. But after after um after almost being forced to train in a sense, because I wasn't, and that's the thing. A lot of times you're not going to do it yourself. You're not going to take the right approach yourself. So after doing it for a while with those people and my circle and friends and stuff, you start seeing results, and you start getting feedback in the way you want it, and not trying to sound like a diva, but you can hear, "Oh my God, you're so skinny," but until you hear, "Oh my goodness, your thighs look smaller," you're not going to feel better about yourself just being a female, you know. So
Hmm.
well, for me, when I start seeing those results, it's like, okay, I see what I'm working for, and I kept going and I kept going, and even even now, I still have to accept certain things about myself. Like every now and then, I do have lapses, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't look feminine, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stop. Just gonna shut up. I'm gonna go play some Legend of Zelda. Just take my mind off of it. You can't. I mean, I still fight with it every single day. And that's something that honestly you will have with you for life, but it's just how you choose to do it. So even now, thank God for my boyfriend who works. Oh, I've never met someone that works out that much. It's crazy. But if I'm feeling down and I'm like, oh, Fred, I don't feel that good about myself, he's like, well, let's go work out. Or he's like, well, have you ate today? Yes. What'd you eat? Well, I had this. Okay, well, yeah, let's go work out. You know. Or some days it's like, I feel like I'm putting so much effort into this. It's like, well, let's go eat some pizza. Do you feel like feeling fat today? I sure do. It really just, you have to, and that's the biggest thing, is making yourself happy with it. So once I started doing that and just really feeling comfortable with myself, Super Pereira was easy to tap into, because I felt so well about myself. Everyone, male or female, child, adult, doesn't matter. Everyone deserves to feel this way. So after I started doing that, that really became my mission to let people feel the same way I feel. And if it's not even through their own body acceptance, if they feel that way through my wrestling, then I've done my job.
And something you've said a few times in the interview so far, that I kind of get a kick out of is, you obviously have a love of food.
Yes. Oh, whew. If you listen to my other interviews, like I did one a couple of months ago, I literally talked for almost 40 minutes about pizza. But I'm not gonna do that. But I I love food. I My favorite foods are Skittles. I love Skittles. Skittles, pizza. I like Hawaiian pizza. I had some of that in New York. Oh my God, pizza's not even the same when I come down here. It's not. Oh, and French fries. I love French fries. Philly cheesesteaks. I only like those up north because they're just not the same down here either.
Well, they're not Philly then.
Exactly. It was the one I had was inside of a pretzel. Like it was. I'm tearing up. It was so beautiful, and I literally ate half of it, wrapped it back up, took it on the plane, brought it to Georgia just for my family and friends to try. Like that's how good it was. Like I'm so enthusiastic about food. Food is the you everyone needs food to live. You need food to be happy. You need food to be a person. You're not a person if you don't like food. If I ever meet someone that doesn't like food, I will be physically scared of them, and I don't think I could save them from the error of ways. They're already too far gone.
So in your travels, if you had to pick one, your favorite road food that you've encountered so far,
Oh, oh,
what's your pick? You know what? I'll let you give two picks,
okay. Oh, this is
because I'm sure a favorite can't be done.
so a favorite can't. Okay. Oh, this is so hard. Okay. I'll have to say when I went for Valkyrie 3 for Queens Road, I had I don't even know the name of the pizza restaurant, but we ordered an extra large, which is like okay, in Georgia, pizza sizes are like babies compared to pizza sizes up there. So like for me, a large in Georgia is like a small in New York. So we ordered an extra large, and this thing, well, I'm sure you know, it like covered the freaking table. So
Yeah.
we ordered that and hot wings, and like it came with a salad, but who cares about the salad? And I ate at least 6 slices of pizza that day. And again, the slices you guys have are like Georgia slices are like a quarter of that. So that
we don't mess around about our pizza is your fried food.
I understand. I'm just I wish I could just get that whenever I wanted to. It was so good. That has to be one of my favorites. Another favorite. Let me think. Another favorite, which was weird. I was going to. It was again. I was going to. This one was when I faced Rose in the most recent Valkyrie 5. When I went to Valkyrie 5, we stopped at a gas station and like picked up some chicken. But this was the most delicious chicken I've ever had in my life. I was so shocked because I'm like, Northerners don't know how to cook chicken, but it was so delicious and just juicy. And I have to say, my perspective on Northern food is really changing. Because when I bit that chicken, it was, I know I'm going into detail, but this is how I am with food. But when I bit that chicken, I was like, I thought I was in the South. And it was so good. So yeah, my favorite would have to be the pizza. And I guess my second favorite would have to be the chicken. But
that gas station chicken.
Gas station chicken. It was so weird. And I also like we went to a pastry shop, which we don't really have those in Georgia. So that was pretty cool. And those cakes are phenomenal. So let me stop. I can't pick one, but okay, those two. We'll just say those two, because if I keep thinking
those two are the closest in there. All right.
Because if I keep thinking about it, I'm going to come up with more. So just there we go.
Well, you do have an opportunity at Valkyrie 6, the anniversary spectacular. You do have an opportunity to get back to the Philadelphia area. We won't be in New York proper, but we'll be going back to Woodbury Heights, New Jersey for Valkyrie 6 Anniversary Spectacular in the Philly area. Maybe another opportunity to get one of those cheesesteaks on a pretzel bun. Philadelphia and that whole area, a lot of food to be had, a lot of friends to be made for sure. The site of Valkyrie 4 will be hosting Valkyrie 6, and I believe this is the first time it will be released some Valkyrie confidential news right here. So we have your match is signed, and it will be Super Pereira versus Mistress Belmont.
Oh snap! See, I love Valkyrie because they've given me another opportunity. This one goes deeper because with this one, I can actually save someone because Mistress Belmont is really, really dark. I mean, not just herself, but her aura is just so dark. And the video she posted are so creepy and all the witchcraft and stuff. Super Pereira is not like that, okay? We're about bright colors, happiness, fun, ice cream, things like that. So I noticed she's on the, she's a bit kind of evil and stuff. So with this match, again, win or lose, that's not my mission. But I believe, along with making her a Pereira pal, I can also make her realize, that's just not the lifestyle. That's not fun. So I thank Valkyrie for giving me this opportunity because you'll be able to hear it from herself how happy she's going to be after she faced me when she just really sees that she's been living life just in a dark, gloomy bubble for no reason.
That's quite, I will say, quite the statement about this match that you plan on changing. Essentially, you plan on changing Mistress Belmont after this match.
I mean, who wants to live like that? I'm not Super Pereira if I can't make her realize that, no.
Another opportunity to make a BFF, I suppose.
I mean, well, after that, she's gonna be so astounded by her new lifestyle. She'll have to become buddies with me just because I'm gonna have to help her transition because that's a huge leap. So I'm gonna have to be that person to be like, Belmont, here's Skittles. Belmont, here's ponies. Love these things.
All right. So we're looking forward to that. That is July 9th at the Woodbury Heights Community Center. Of course, details to come. You can find it at the Valkyrie website. But speaking of the web, Aja Super Pereira, where can people find you on the web? Where can they keep up with the exploits of Valkyrie's superhero?
You can find me on Instagram under Aja Pereira. You can find my fan page, which is new, on Facebook. That is also Aja Super Pereira. You can find me on Facebook on my regular page, Aja Pereira, because I add everybody anyways. And you can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter name is different. It is Oh Snap Applejacks, because I thought that sounded really cool and it rhymes. And I've had that since like 2009, and I will never change it. But if you type in Aja Pereira, it should still come up. And that is where you can find all things super and all things awesome.
And that Pereira is Perera.
Yes.
All right. And Aja, I would just like to thank you one more time for coming on Valkyrie Confidential. And we are looking forward to your match on July 9th.
Thank you. I can't wait myself. I get to make a new buddy. This will be my best accomplishment if this works out.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
There we have it. My interview with Aja Super Pereira.
Yeah.
And, of course, that opponent, the first match from a very special Thursday night Valkyrie show in Woodbury Heights, New Jersey, at the Woodbury Heights Community Center. Valkyrie returns.
July 9th is the day. July 9th. Thursday. Say it again. Don't think
Thursday.
We're not having one of those matinee Wednesday wrestling shows. No. Nor are we on the weekend. Thursday night, July 9th, Woodbury Heights, New Jersey. It's going to be Super Aja Pereira versus someone I'm very familiar with. Super tough, Mistress Belmont. And I think that if you want to talk about a baptism by fire, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be Aja Pereira's toughest match to date and a first time ever contest. More importantly, she does not know. She can study all the tapes you want. There's plenty out there. But until you get in the ring with Mistress Belmont, which she has not done in the past, you do not know what you are getting involved with. You do.
No, and of course, in the interview, heard a lot about Super Pereira looking for a friend. Looking for a friend in Valkyrie. Obviously didn't get one at Valkyrie 5, either with the superstar Nikki Adams or Diva Dickie Rods, or even her own tag team partner, Nyla the Destroyer. Nyla kind of leaving her high and dry in the ring after that match. And looking for friendship, possibly in all of the wrong places, but keeping that positive mental attitude that Super Pereira does have. Looking for friendship with Mistress Belmont, as well as you said, probably one of her toughest matches to date, taking that Southern style from Georgia against the New England style of Mistress Belmont.
New England Smash Mouth style, indeed. Now, another episode has come to pass. I lied to you all in episode 3. I said I'd be back this week. It wasn't meant to be. With scheduling conflicts, as it were. God, I hope I'm back next week. A few people have had to listen to Rob Blatt 2 weeks in a row. I guess it's even now at 500 apiece. I did the first 2 episodes with one person. Rob has done, or took 2 people for 2 episodes for Rob.
Yes, and before we get too deep, a little bit non-Valkyrie related, but before we get too deep into the baseball season, Top Shelf.
Oh,
I'd like to wish you and your Boston Red Sox all of the best. But it's a shame that the Yankees will be taking the first place in the division this year.
Oh, it's not even like this is the witty banter part of the podcast where we just let's get things over. No, because the Yankees are a terrible team. I love the Boston Red Sox. They're a great team. They hit 4 home runs yesterday. One of them was a grand slam. If you're listening to this podcast, the Yankees have all their players that were once great 8 years ago are old. and they traded all their young guys away to have these very old players so that their farm system now is just dwindled to nothing. They need to have 5 seasons of losing seasons to have good draft picks. Yankee money is no good anymore if you want to win a World Series. Before, if it was like, here, let me just give you these $200 million, Mr. Steinbrenner, thank you. No, nobody wants it. People are signing with the Padres for that money because they feel like they have a better chance to win a ring with the San Diego Padres. The Yankees will finish in the cellar. They will have a better record than maybe the Phillies in the National League. That's about it. I fully expect the Yankees to be last, if not maybe second to last. Maybe the Astros will put up nothing again, but even they have a more promising home run. Your best player, the guy who has 7th most home runs of all time, Alex Rodriguez, is your number 7 hitter because he's been suspended for abusing steroids. Taking them like a normal person, just abusing them. So, literally, yes, my hat goes off to the Yankees.
I'll
suck.
We'll have that. We'll have that little rant.
We'll finish better than the Yankees this year. Again, the Mets. The Mets, they're terrible. The Mets are terrible too. I like the Mets. I support the Mets' cause to not suck, but they're not the Red Sox.
We'll have that little rant close out episode 4 of Valkyrie Women's Wrestling Confidential.
Bartolo Colon will finish with more wins than any starting pitcher on the Yankees. That is my problem. You listen to this now. It has nothing to do with wrestling. This is for all the baseball fans out there. Bartolo Colon on the Mets will finish with more wins than Masato Tanaka. Opening day for Masato Tanaka is a story.
Right.
Anything to come. The Mets, Bartolo Colon will have more wins than any pitcher on the Yankees, and the Mets will finish with a better record than the Yankees. Go Sox.
Little did I know that I opened a can of worms here. All right. So that closes out episode 4 of Valkyrie Women's Wrestling Confidential, the official podcast of Valkyrie Women's Wrestling. For my co-host and friend, Top Shelf Troy Nelson, I am Rob Blatt, and we'll see you next time on Valkyrie Women's Confidential.